Hey guys, it's Turner459O, and welcome to my Nintendo Spotlight E3 2017 reactions and review video. So, I went into this one with I guess muted expectations, just based solely on the runtime, which was going into it only going to be 25 minutes, and I just had a feeling that there weren't going to be that many huge announcements, maybe one or two surprises, and that's exactly what we got. We got just a bunch of stuff that we already expected to see, stuff like Mario Odyssey, and a little bit of ARMS, some Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Fire Emblem Warriors, stuff like that, and then one big surprise, which wasn't necessarily the surprise I wanted, but I can't deny how happy I am for everyone else who's been waiting for this day for years. So anyway, let's just get right to it. It kicked off with just a quick sizzle reel of just a couple of new games coming to the Switch. Some we already knew about, like FIFA, and one really cool announcement was Rocket League actually is finally coming to the Switch, which is something that people have been clamoring for. I know that I've constantly seen the devs talking about how much people wanted it. So it's really cool, and as you'll see, as they show later, they actually have like Nintendo exclusive stuff like Mario costumes and stuff for your cars and stuff, so that's really cool. And then Reggie appeared on stage in his normal all business attire in this beautiful looking like penthouse suite or something. I don't know. Reggie's having a great time not at E3 right now. And he just talks about a bunch of all the games they're gonna be bringing. I mean, come on, he's just Reggie on stage. He's just an intimidating presence talking about all the cool stuff they're gonna show in the 20 minutes of runtime they had left. Anyway, then they went on straight on to show a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 trailer, which, cool. I've never been a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles, like, well, not a fan, but I've just never played any of them, so one thing I think is interesting is that the art style is definitely more Tales-esque this time, and I think it's actually kind of cool that like each Xenoblade game, as an outsider who hasn't played the series, each Xenoblade game seemingly has like a new art style. They always have a new composer. I think it's actually a cool touch that the series has, but who knows, like maybe all the like older ones like all were identical, and it's just these new like Nintendo published ones that are different like that. But anyway, yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 still saying that it's gonna release in 2017 at the end of the year, so we'll see if it gets delayed. I don't know, but I wouldn't get your hopes up, honestly. And then after that, they showed off... Oh, this was actually a really cool announcement. A Kirby game in the style of Return to Dreamland. So it looks like it's a 4-player multiplayer again. It looks gorgeous, obviously. And the placeholder title of the game is simply Kirby. So that'd be pretty funny if they just stuck with that name, like Sony is doing with God of War. I'd be a little angry if they called this game just Kirby, though. Then after that, they brought on just a couple more devs talking about some more games. I'm so tired right now. They brought up the person who presented the Pokken Tournament Deluxe at the Pokemon Direct last week to formally announce that Game Freak is working on a mainline Pokemon game for the Switch. A core RPG was the exact wording, so I wonder if it'll be like an actual like game, like, well, obviously it'll be a game, you know what I mean? If it'll be like an actual like full-blown Pokemon game like Sun and Moon or Alpha Ruby, Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. Sorry, oh my god, I haven't played a Pokemon game in a while. Or I wonder if they mean core RPG. Do they mean something more along the lines of like Gale of Darkness or Colosseum? Which that'd be actually really cool to see because we haven't gotten one since Gale of Darkness on the GameCube. So it just showed off some more Pokken tournament footage, which, I mean, we saw it last week, so it's not a big deal. And then the big one. This is definitely the headliner of the conference, which no gameplay, we don't even find out if Retro is making it or not. All we know is beyond a shadow of a doubt, Metroid Prime 4 is in development, finally. Hopefully it won't be like Kingdom Hearts 3, where every single year we'll just get another trailer that says in development, even though it's been in development for years at this point, but Metroid Prime 4 is finally a thing, so that's really exciting for the people who care. I personally have never been a fan of the Prime series, and even Metroid in general. I'm just not that big of a fan of them, but like I said at the beginning, I can't deny how, if there was a dream announcement I had going into this E3, I wanted another Metroid game, because god damn it, you need to throw those guys a bone, because they just keep getting stomped on and ignored by Nintendo, and then just fed Federation Force and expecting to eat it up like here's your Metroid game you've all been clamoring for. So Metroid Prime 4, I wonder if this is the retro game they've been working on. My gut actually says no. I think Retro might still actually be doing another thing besides that, but who knows. All we know is that it will come out eventually, both Metroid Prime 4 and whatever Retro is working on. So that was a huge announcement. That was definitely the big one. And then I'd argue the lowest point is this new Yoshi game, which I don't believe has a title. I'm pretty sure it's just called Yoshi right now. Which, again, it would be really funny if they actually just call it Yoshi. But I felt the same way about Yoshi's New Island. I just find this art style ugly. It is an ugly game to look at. I just don't see the appeal in this art style. It just looks bad. Like, there's no getting around it in my mind. It doesn't look like, I'm all for like unique art styles and stuff, but it just like Yoshi's New Island, it just flat out looks ugly. It is not appealing to the eyes, and it's especially apparent after Woolly World came out. Like, Woolly World on the 3DS looks better than this game on the Switch. And Woolly World on the Wii U obviously just looks insane compared to this. And it just, I love Yoshi games, and Woolly World was awesome, but I don't find this game appealing in the slightest from the gameplay that they showed off. So that was probably the low point of the conference for me. They showed off a new Fire Emblem Warriors trailer, which it's a Warriors game, so they didn't show off any gameplay. It was just story, which I guess is more important, because I mean, every Warriors game is just the same, so that's cool that you get to see all these Fire Emblem characters interact in a cohesive story, instead of like Fire Emblem Heroes, which is just all the characters in this no plot gotcha game. Like, it's actually cool that all these characters will be interacting in an actual story. So that's cool. IG Aonuma came out on stage to actually show off some Zelda DLC footage, which was cool. I didn't actually expect that. Unfortunately, what we got was basically just video footage of all of the stuff we saw already, with the Trial of the Sword and the hard mode and the Hero's Path. Basically, all we got was just video footage of it, even though we've already gotten it in screenshot form and press release form, so not a big deal. However, they did tease the DLC Pack 2 coming out later this year, and all we really find out from that trailer is that it will revolve around the 4 champions somehow. So Mipha, Daruk, Rivali, and Urbosa. So I wonder if it'll take place before the game or after the game, because spoiler alert for Breath of the Wild, they're all dead in the year that game takes place. They're long dead. So it'll be interesting to see if it actually takes place in the past, because that's where most of the interesting story in Breath of the Wild was, actually 100 years in the past. So I'd be totally down if the DLC actually focuses on that. So yeah, they showed that off for a little bit, and and some more Breath of the Wild amiibo with the 4 champions I mentioned, so that's really cool. the Urbosa amiibo. A lot of people have made fun of the stands that some of the amiibo have, like the white stands, or sometimes the piss yellow stands in the Link amiibo case. A lot of people have made fun of where the stands placement are, but looking at Urbosa's statue, it's a very unfortunate placement. I'm sure that there's some better way they could have put it, like maybe have the stands run down her legs or something, but whatever, that's quite the sight to behold. Anyway, then it cut to Reggie again, this time in Los Santos, apparently, because look at this. This is straight out of Grand Theft Auto 5. That is really distracting. Just to tell us more about, like, oh, we're having tons of fun tournaments here at E3, which doesn't matter for anyone at home, but it is what it is. So here's a couple more games to show off, and then he just promptly walked off the beach. I'm assuming he walked home at this point. So only a couple more games left. They showed off Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle again, which kind of made me a little annoyed because they already spent 20 minutes on this at Ubisoft. And granted, the game looks infinitely better than I would have figured, based on, like, because everyone knew this game existed because this is the most leaked game in recent memory. So they showed off a little bit more of that. They had the Bond villain Yves Clément come on stage and just talk about how, like, oh, it's such a great opportunity with Miyamoto and everything. And yeah, it's just even though the game looks better than I figured it would, I still don't really find myself interested in it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I've never played an XCOM game. The closest thing I can think of to like real-time strategy that I played, I guess, is Valkyria Chronicles, but even then I haven't completed that game, unfortunately. I really should get back on that. And after Rabbids Kingdom Battle, they showed off another Rocket League trailer, which, okay, I mean, they showed it off at the beginning, so this seems, again, an unnecessary use of the 25-minute runtime they have, but whatever. And finally, they ended it off. I figured they'd either begin or end with this game, but they ended it off with No More Heroes 3. I'm unfortunately joking. They ended off with Mario Odyssey, which is just a shitstorm of a game. I'm joking. That game looks so charming, and it had like a full-blown musical, like musical number with by the end of the trailer. Apparently Pauline is singing, which is insane to think about, that Pauline is in a mainline Mario game that isn't just a Mario versus DK game. But that game just looks brimming with charm and pure joy. So that's really exciting. The whole mechanic of like actually like taking over enemies too is really cool. Like, it kind of reminded me of like taking like the Boo suit in like Galaxy 1, except like you're literally taking control of these enemies. You can take control of everything: a bullet bill, a Goomba, a dinosaur, as the trailer shows. You can even a person in New Dog City. So that's gonna be really weird. But that game continues to just, it's like we're only 2 trailers in at this point, and that game looks magnificent. And amazingly, it's actually coming out in October, so it makes me wonder what Nintendo thinks their big November game is, unless it's going to be Xenoblade. Because Mario and Zelda are like typically always saved for November, so it's just really weird that it's coming out actually in October. And then that was it. And then the Treehouse stream started after that. And then Nintendo and Reggie have said that they're going to be trickling out announcements throughout the Treehouse. But I had to stop to actually record this video. So let me just actually double check if there was anything announced in the Treehouse yet. Okay, no, there hasn't been anything. Good. So yeah, that was Nintendo at E3. Like I said at the beginning, I had very muted expectations just because of the runtime, and they said they wouldn't actually focus on games in 2018, just games in 2017, which they lied about because they showed off a Yoshi, a Kirby, a Metroid, and there was one more, wasn't there? Or were those the only ones for 2018? So they showed off 3 big first-party games for 2018, so that's really cool. Definitely Metroid Prime 4. It's just finally nice to be, for that fan base to be thrown a bone. So yeah, overall, just talking about E3 as a whole, I'd actually say this year was kind of mediocre, and like Sony especially, because Sony for the last 5 years, I swear it's been like the last maybe 3 years, for the last 3 years they've just knocked it out of the park. But this year, like, I think everyone on the internet's in agreement that this Sony conference was really lackluster. So, I don't know if I'd say Nintendo did better than them. It's real hard because, again, they only had 25 minutes. But you know what? Overall, like with the runtime they had, I'd actually say Nintendo did a pretty good job. And again, we did get more 2018 games than I actually thought we would. And I'd say headliners this E3, I think Metroid Prime 4 is arguably the biggest headline. Me personally, if I was to rank my most hyped game of E3, regardless of what console it's on, like Nintendo, Sony, whatever, I think that new Dragon Ball Z fighting game looks fucking amazing. I haven't been this hyped for a DBZ game since, like Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Like I kind of fell out of the series because I got like every single game, Budokai 1, 2, 3, Tenkaichi 1, 2, 3. So I kind of got burnt out, but this game like makes me want to jump right back in to a DBZ fighting game, especially when it's by the makers of Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, which I've always had gorgeous art styles, and that game's no exception. So I'm really excited to get my hands on that. As well, obviously, as Mario Odyssey. If I had to say my favorite Nintendo game from this conference, it was definitely has to be Odyssey. I mean, you can control a dino, so what else could you want? But yeah, I guess that actually does it for this year. So yeah, what did you guys think? You can leave a response in the comments below. Who did you think actually did the best E3? Do you think this E3 was better than last year for Nintendo's? I mean, default answer is probably yes, because last year they just had Zelda. So with that, this has been Turner459O, and I'll see you guys next time.